back, everybody. We are going to continue working on shapes for the body, and today we're going to focus on the shapes of the hand, okay? Hands are tricky because hands can do all sorts of things. They can make all sorts of shapes, and so I think they deserve a little bit of special attention. Okay, so let's start with this straightforward view of a hand from the backside. Okay, I'm going to sketch this, I think, straight in black because we're just sketching here. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this shape here, and this is going to be a trapezoid shape. I've been calling it a rhombus in all the other videos. Forgive me if I threw you off on your geometry tests. But it's a trapezoid, okay? So we got a side that is smaller. Actually goes a little more straight down on that one side. Then it goes a little more out on that side. So a little smaller here, and then this side towards our knuckles a little bigger. Okay, but you know, it's just a starting point here. I can start shaping it a little bit and start thinking about it again, because I'm just sketching about this curve that we're going to kind of see in our hand over and over again, okay? So first thing I would do, I get that kind of shape down. Now I'm just going to kind of sketch out the fingers. So especially if I'm working from a photograph, it's a lot easier because hands can do all sorts of funky things, and it's kind of like a little gesture drawing for the fingers here. It's basically what it is. So just going to get the shape out, get the position. And once I get a feeling for where the fingers are placed, and I get my finger gesture drawing kind of done, I can go back and refine things. And this is as much as you need to. So not necessarily do I always go back and make each shape, but we're going to do it here for this practice thing, and then you use it as you need to. So let's start with the thumb over here. Thumb is unique. So thumb attaches on the inside more, and then we can see just on this view, we can see just this little section of this segment right here. And it's going to be broken up into 3 segments, like all the fingers. We got this joint right there, and this thumb is pretty much going straight out, and the very end of the thumb here. And often it kind of looks like these two kind of just merge together, these 2 joints on this side, because it gets wider there and then a little more narrow. Okay, another thing to take note of is how long the fingers are. And if I measure the palm, the fingers are about the same length. Now, it varies from person to person, and my fingers are just about even with my palm. And the thing that kind of does make a little difference is you do have this little webbing here that takes place. So if you think of your fingers as starting more from the, like this side here, and you kind of ignore the webbing here, they're going to look longer. But then when we flip the hand around, the fingers are going to look shorter because the webbing just looks like the end of the hand. So that is something that kind of plays into fact, but either way, we are looking at about the same length for the middle finger, and I'm talking about the middle finger because that's our longest finger. Okay, so that's the next thing you want to take note of is the size of the fingers. So the middle finger is the longest, your pointer finger and your ring finger are a little shorter, and they could be close to even. I have my ring finger is actually a little longer than my pointer finger, but on this picture, they look just about even on this guy's hand. Then obviously your pinky finger is going to be the shortest. It'll be about a little longer than the halfway point of this middle finger, or longest finger. Okay, so we get this kind of shape going. Here, let me erase that so you can tell. We get this kind of curve going, and we're going to see that over and over again. And we kind of have it here on the palm. We also have it on the first digit. Well, no, these are not digits. The whole finger is a digit. The first section of the finger, the first little section before we get to our joint. It's actually called phalange, I think. Phalange? Yeah, I think that's right. This bone here. Different named phalanges. All right, so this first section here before we get to this bend, it's going to follow the same kind of curve like this. And the shape I use for these are cylinders. Now from this angle, they're going to look just like rectangles because they're pretty much looking straight onto this hand. But that's really how I want to think about these things, as round cylinders. So I get this curve. Okay, one more segment here. the next segment has 2 more segments actually. It's going to follow the same curve. This next phalange, I think I'm saying it right. Don't quote me on that. Okay, there we go. Again, following the same line here. And then the last one, the last little digit here, and this one I'm going to round off because our fingers are rounded on the end. And I think my pinky's a little long. Let me look at this pinky. Yeah, this pinky should be, yeah, oh, this joint, yeah, smaller, much smaller. All right, I think the hand goes a little deeper here too, so we're going here, we're going here, just about even with this finger, it looks like here. The second little segment. Something like that. Now it looks all small. All right, we're going to live with it. Okay, but those are our basic shapes. Another shape I can add in are little circles for knuckles. And there we go. All right, basic hand. Now, I don't break it up into these shapes every time. Again, it is if I need to, and I need to work out where the bends are and what's going on. All right, let's try this hand from the profile here. Okay, so my shape here that I'm using, let me draw it from like a 3/4. Think of it like a pliable shape like that, right? Because our hand can curve a little bit, and you can get things like, you know, kind of folding over like that. So it can bend, but that's our basic shape, straightforward. Okay, so on the side, just kind of seeing it like this. And here's my arm. But a lot of what we're seeing from this angle is just that thumb shape. Let me try and make it the same size. Okay, so here's my knuckle. And then I'm just going to start roughing in this finger kind of gesture here. And I can't really see any other fingers except these 2. Okay, and that brings me to the thumb here. So our thumb, this segment here that we drew, actually is a really kind of meaty looking thing. And I kind of think of it like a chicken wing. But this end bends over here. And then it gets kind of thicker like that. All right, so it looks like a chicken wing, a drumstick, hot wing, big hot wing. That'd be a pretty big hot wing. A drumstick. Okay, and then we got our joints still. So the thumb, if we're looking at this, it just goes past the knuckles, like really, if you put it straight out. And you can always look at your own hand. Your own hand, by the way, is a fantastic reference for drawing hands. Okay, so my drumstick here, then it gets fat on this end. Then I got this last joint here. And then there's another joint in here, with a bone right there, but I can't really see it. That's that right, this section right there. But kind of hard to see anything distinct from this angle, from the lighting. You can see a little hint of it there. All right, so I got these 3 segments still. And let's go ahead and chunk this up into some segments. So I got my first phalange right there. And it looks like there's like another kind of bend right here. And that's actually on the other side of the knuckle. You're getting this other kind of little thing that almost looks like a segment. But it's kind of opposite the knuckle, and it just kind of folds. It creates a fold there. It's not really a place where it can bend. The bend is this segment here. That makes sense. Okay, so here's our segment. Then I got the next segment, and then the tip of the finger there. And then I'll kind of hint at this one right here. And I know they don't look too much like cylinders now, but when we practice the hand in different positions, it'll look better. Okay, let's sketch out this palm here. And again, looking at this trapezoid shape, it's straighter on this side, right, where the thumb side. So here's my arm here, my trapezoid shape here, and I can go straight, but I might as well start curving it. And a lot of times for me drawing it's like that. It's kind of like sculpting. So I'll draw my initial trapezoid and it'll be straight, and then I'll kind of go ahead and kind of sculpt it into place as I go here. Okay, so let's see here. So I'm going to rough out. Let's start with the thumb again. So here's the meaty part, the part of our drumstick here. And you can see a little bend on this angle here, right there, that segment right there, our first segment. And then we got next segment. Let's just kind of rough it out there. All right, some looks too skinny there, but I'm not going to stress about it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of keep moving. All right, so let's do a little gesture here. So drawing hands without reference is just going to take practice, and it's going to take practice of drawing hands with reference. So the more you practice drawing your hands and use reference, the more you get used to the shapes that the hand can make that start looking more natural. And that is really the best thing to do. If you need to get better at hands, draw a lot of hands. And I certainly could use practice on hands. But here we go. Here's that shape again. Now here it's going the opposite way. We've got, let me check the length of the fingers real quickly. I'm going to kind of measure here. That looks about right. And again, well, from this angle, actually, as I look at it, because the palm has that webbing, they should actually look a little shorter, the fingers. So I'm going to kind of cut them off a little shorter. Okay, so looking at the segments here, I'm getting that shape again, that curve. Next segment. And as you draw hands, you just start taking note of things and things you can integrate into your quick sketches. Like this first joint here usually gets wider. It certainly does in my fingers. You get a widening kind of thing of the fingers there. And then doing the pinky, it looks like it hits about there. So small. Okay, there's a basic, really rough sketch. And again, this should be all rough. This is just getting our structure down. And I would not want to refine this until I'm doing my final lines or I'm settled on something. Okay, so let me look back at the thumb here and look at how it attaches. So also kind of some webbing here between our thumb and the palm. And let's see this knuckle here. So it gets a little wider here. Then we get that other joint right there. And the fatter little segment right there. Okay. A lot of times I'll draw this little section too. This little, it kind of gets a little meatier on the base of the palm here. So you have this one section here attached to the thumb, and you have this other kind of section here. It attaches to the side here, with this being the more shallow part. But obviously it attaches. It's not like there's a distinct line there, but just think of that meaty section. All right, there are 3 angles of our hands. Let's keep going. Okay, let's try to sketch this hand now that we got some shapes under our belt here. So to make the fingers, this is obviously a female hand. Hands don't really differ too much, but the same principles apply as for the the whole body, is want to make it look a little more feminine. We can kind of narrow out the fingers a little bit, make them look a little sleeker, a little slimmer. And the more meaty and wide the hand is, the more masculine it's going to look. Okay, and it's more about masculine and feminine rather than actually being a girl hand or a boy hand, how you want to make it feel. Okay, so let's go ahead and sketch. So I'm going to try to get my palm shape first. Okay, and there's attached right there. And I'm looking at it at an angle, 3/4 angle. And it kind of, makes that curve there like that. Okay, and that's kind of where I'm going to start. Just get that palm in place. And now I can start working on attaching all the fingers. So I'm going to first do my gesture and kind of see if I can get my fingers in place. Okay, and this one's going away from us. And so is this pinky. Okay, something like that. So now it's time to go hit that thumb here. Make sure, always count my digits, make sure I drew enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, so as we're going here, start refining the shapes. So let's start with this thumb here. So I got this little segment here. You can see the joint right there. And it's going away from us. So I'm going to start thinking of it like cylinders here, going away, and the last segment there. And you can always sketch out a little thumbnail if you want, but I'll save that for the details once you get to more of the detail stage. But it doesn't hurt to start throwing things in. Okay, going to the next finger here. So I'm looking at the joint, and I'm looking at this first section here. And it gets really, if you can see how the finger gets a little wider there at this, even on the bottom, then it kind of narrows out the next section. Okay, and I'm looking at the way it attaches here. You can see the kind of webbing kind of start going like that. But again, that's more detail here. We're trying to get the shapes. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I got my bend right here at that section. Here's my first cylinder, my next cylinder, and this little cylinder kind of facing away from us here. Okay, moving right along. Okay, now I'm really trying to draw these shapes in front of each other. So I get the feeling that this finger is going away from us. So I got my 3 cylinders here. Then this one here, okay, we got this first segment right there, next segment. And I see if I was just drawing this, I probably wouldn't bother working out the segments here because they all kind of go in a straight line almost. But for this tutorial, I'll put it in there so we can just get used to them. But again, you use them as you need to. All right, there is our hand. Now, it's a little wider than I want. I can always shape it, slim it down, but that's all right. Okay, let's try this one here. So we got a fist at an angle. Okay, that's going to be interesting. So let's go ahead and kind of rough out where the palm is. And it's kind of all tied up in there with the fingers. But I kind of want to just have an idea where it is here. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of rough out what I see. So I see a segment here kind of coming towards us. And here I'm actually kind of working on the segments as I go because I'm really trying to get these fingers folded in the right way. Let's see here. And this one kind of comes at a different angle. I got my thumb on top right here. So let's go ahead and rough that. It looks like a mess right now. Let's keep those distinct. Okay, so here's the one segment of my thumb. And it attaches. And we have that other joint right there. So one. Next segment for this finger. I can only see a little stub there for that. All right, here's my palm. Attach the arm. And let me see if I can clean that mess up for you to see. So one finger. It's actually going at a different angle here. More towards me. Okay, so let me refine this a bit now. I've got an idea of what I'm doing here. This finger coming towards me. Then this segment of the finger going away. And then it kind of folds in on itself right there. It makes this fist. Here's my knuckle over here. Okay, then this finger, you can see a little bit of the knuckle here peeking out. Coming at a different angle. Then we got it flattened out here. That section. And this section. And that section. All right. There we go. Okay, let's try this hand. So another profile. So let me kind of draw my shape from the side here. Okay, so here's my trapezoid from the side. And arm is going down like that a little bit. Okay, so first thing, let's get a gesture of the fingers. Okay, let's see the thumb. The thumb is really taking up a lot of space here. We got this meaty section here. And then let's try and get these fingers kind of facing down a bit. And you got the pinky just kind of sticking out down there. Okay. And if I'm drawing my hand and things look really off, I find it's best to sometimes just redraw the whole thing. This one's borderline for me, but I think I can make it work. Okay, so let's get this segment here situated. Oops, going straight more. Here's my knuckle. Okay, tilted down. And the last little section there. I drew too long a little bit, and then that section a little too short. Okay, and then we can see the palm kind of folding over there like that on the inside. Okay. I'm gonna get the thumb here because it's kind of just in the way. So here's this section here of our drumstick, this bigger joint there. And from there it goes thinner. And, you know, it does help me a lot sometimes to draw these little round joints where they are. So I can really get that shape. And here it starts getting wider. Then we have this last segment of the thumb right there. Then I'll go ahead and do these fingers here. We got one segment, two segment cylinders, third cylinder segment. All right, and the one behind it, a lot of it's hidden. And the pinky is definitely mostly hidden here. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's draw this hand here. So the palm is kind of facing down a bit. At least this side is. And again, the palm can curl. So, you know, you got to figure it out. So here's my bent kind of trapezoid shape. All right, here it is right there. This is the arm. And let's see if I can gesture these in here. So I'm going to see if this thumb kind of get it there. All right, and then these fingers curl up. Okay, and then we've got this finger sticking out. But down a little bit, actually. So I'm looking at the level of the finger, and it's just about even with that little section there, right here. And then the last finger is really hidden back there behind the other finger. A little tricky. Don't want him to look like he's only got 3 fingers. Okay, so definitely rough and super helpful to kind of get a little gesture in, but now let's try and break it up. So looking at this first finger here, the pinky on this side, and this first segment here, there, and then down. And actually a little tighter than that, I believe. Almost touching, almost bent completely back on itself there. Okay, next finger here. And on this, it's helping me to kind of draw those little ball joints there, as it also kind of is here with the knuckles. Yeah. The quality of the picture is not the greatest when I zoomed in and took a picture of the hand, so I can't quite tell what's going on here. Whether that's 2 fingers or we're only seeing one, the silhouette. I think we can see one peeking out behind that one. Oh, and I think we can see, that's why it looks like that. Okay, so I'm looking at it. So I'm drawing these joints it's helping me to draw this sphere there. Okay, and this finger, the last segment, kind of curled over on itself. And then we got the hint of this other finger right there, and it also kind of is peeking out as I'm looking at it. This is why the finger, was looking strange at this joint was looking strange to me, and I realized it's because the other finger is peeking out below it like that. Okay. I can deal with this part of the hand. Just kind of beefing up this little meaty section there. And then we've got the thumb. Okay, so I got this first section here. Then the part where it gets wider with the joint somewhere there, right there. So you got these 3 segments here. But again, these 2 sometimes look very attached, very much like the same segment right there. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. All right, there are some hands. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys got some good hands in. And I hope that helps us improve our drawings. All right, I'll see you on the next video.